Do it. Do it.
Welcome to the Austin Otaku Podcast, hosted by Jesse McDonald and Keith Good.
Welcome back to the Austin Otaku Podcast, everyone. I'm Jesse McDonald, joined again by the ever-lovely Keith Good. Keith, how are you doing?
Man, I don't know what I'm going to, if I can handle this type of positive reinforcement from you.
I need to start changing it up. I think I called you lovely last week, too. Maybe you're not lovely this week. Maybe
I was super or something, special.
You're super. Thanks for asking.
I'm super. Thanks for asking.
All right, challenge accepted. I'm gonna change up your adjective every week. New bit.
Appreciate it. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, if you will. Another busy week, but they're always busy weeks, so things are good.
It's true. I don't know if I've had a non-busy week for the past 4 months or so, I'd say. Ever since you got back, actually.
I was going to say, I think I was less busy on paternity leave than I was when I got back. It's crazy.
This is your fault, Jesse.
Yeah,
expectations are higher.
Yeah, sure. Okay. They might be lower, if anything. Very excited about our guest this week. I think this is going to be a really cool show.
I think so. And we're actually not changing the format this time. We're going to try it out a couple of times. So
we are changing the format, though. I'm calling you something different every week.
That is true. That's somewhat of a format. But in terms of overall order, I think we're still going to do the Tell Me Something Good. I don't know if that's going to stick or not. Tell me something good. Tell me something good. And then we'll do the lightning round. And that'll be sort of the standard format until we figure out what works better.
I'm really glad that we do an audio format because our guest's face right now is amazing. He's not up to our shenanigans. So with that in mind, we're very excited to share that our guest today is the one and only Gary Illyes. While most people know him for his work at Google since 2011 as a Webmaster Trends Analyst, and as well as being the self-proclaimed house elf and chief of sunshine and happiness, Gary is also...
Whoa. It's not self-proclaimed, please.
Okay, mulligan.
Those titles were given to me by people, by real people.
So, okay, according to Gary, I can also, because the title of Best Hugs at a Conference was given to me by the one Mark Traphagen, so I'm putting that on my Twitter now. But
as you should.
To please the guest as we should, the publicly claimed house elf and chief of sunshine and happiness at Google, Gary is also a cook, a scuba diver, a video gamer, and a tsukemen aficionado. You can catch Gary. What?
You couldn't even pronounce that properly.
Tsukemen.
Tsukemen, right?
Yes. The good is good.
I win.
So we should edit in Gary's voice pronouncing it over me.
Tsukemen. Tsukemen.
Say it normally. Tsukemen.
Tsukemen. It's there. We're good.
Oh, this will be a long podcast.
If you keep interrupting, yeah.
I would never do that.
You just did. You've done it twice, and I've read 2 sentences.
I have manners.
Debatable.
I keep it in the fridge.
You can catch Gary on his own podcast alongside John Mueller and Martin Splitt called Search Off the Record, which we both highly recommend. We've shared it across the office and within the industry several times, so it's an excellent one. Check it out. And for the record, we will not be discussing any Google algorithms, penalties, or secrets that you can use for your search data.
Wait. Then why am I here?
Oh, fair point. Oh, we're done. We're done.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Have a good day. It was nice talking to you.
Just wanted to introduce you. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was easy.
Yeah, it was good. So if you're looking for the secret sauce, this is not the droid you're looking for. But with that, please welcome Gary Illyes.
Yay, Gary.
Guten Tag.
Guten Abend? I don't know.
Abend.
Oh,
Habent?
No, just don't, please.
Okay.
Thank you for being on the show, Gary. We're off the rails already. This is fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, both personally and professionally?
So it all started with Eve, actually.
I was born, I grew up, I died.
So there was this place called Paradise, and she had a mate called Adam, and they had a wonderful life there. But then there was this tree, and it had apples.
So
and they were told not to eat the apples.
From what I'm hearing, you've been diving too deep into that prehistory book that you got, right?
Oh yeah, the Swiss one. Yeah. Okay, so more seriously. Well, I was born alive.
Good call.
Yeah, and I've been saying no ever since. I started talking when I was 6. Apparently, before that, I was refusing to say anything to anyone. But at the age of 6, I actually started to talk, and I couldn't stop since then. Apparently, I was very hard to feed. I didn't want to eat. So my poor mother was chasing me around with food and trying to feed me. And as soon as I started talking, when I decided that it's worth coming down to others' level and interact with them, then I started saying no more and more. And apparently that was my first spoken word as well. When my mother wanted to feed me something, then I told her no. And that's basically my story.
I feel like this brings a new color to our friendship. Keith and I have known you for several years, and we try to meet up whenever we're at a conference together. And I feel like knowing that no was your first word and what sounds like your favorite word, just it makes more sense now. Like the world just makes more sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I think also the food thing really kind of plays in as well, because obviously if you were hard to feed, and now like I follow you on Twitter, obviously, and on Facebook, and I see a lot of your food posts, and you're starting up a foodie blog as well. And it's fascinating to me that you were hard to feed before, and now food is. Would you call it an obsession?
I don't know. I grew up in a cook family. So my father was a chef. My mother was working in a kitchen with my father. And we always had amazing food at home for various reasons. Either my father was cooking something or my mother was throwing something together that was amazingly tasty. My grandmother was also a fairly decent cook, although my mother would disagree mostly because my grandmother was my father's mother. So mother-in-law for my mother or whatever that is. I guess that was the main reason they were disagreeing, but she was also a fairly good cook. Also, my great-grandmother was also a cook. So,
on your father's side as well?
On my father's side. On my mother's side, I don't actually know.
Interesting. So the food it seems like the flair for sort of cooking and being a chef comes from your father's side of your family.
Yeah. I mean, I literally grew up in kitchens. So it's like cooking is basically second nature to me. Like I cook literally every day or bake something every day. And my neighbors typically enjoy that. When this Corona crap went sideways, is this a PG-13 podcast or R-rated or
X. It's rated X.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We have no limits. Go with it.
So when this COVID crap went sideways, then obviously Switzerland entered a lockdown and everyone was freaking out, which is not true. Everyone was just like sitting at home and making fondue. That's also not true because it was spring, and in spring you don't do fondue. That's just a winter thing. Anyway, basically my neighbors were sitting at home. I have two neighbors who are very old. One of them is 80-something, the other one is 70-something. And they just can't go out or couldn't go out for groceries or pretty much for anything. So I started doing groceries for them. And then later I also cooked for them. So I think for 2 months, I was cooking for those two, three people because one of them has a boyfriend. But then also inside Google, some people learned that I cook. And then they also subscribed. So I think for 2 months, I was cooking for 7-8 people.
Wow.
And basically that's an everyday thing.
Wow.
I was the person who was feeding them.
You
literally are the chief of sunshine and happiness.
Actually, he's literally the house elf, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it was no trouble for me. Basically, you just scale up things a little, and things just work out in the kitchen. It's not that complicated. But I was told that my cookery is quite good. So
the pictures look great.
Yeah, that's my other talent that I was nominated for a Grammy for. Best picture. Yeah.
I didn't know Grammys were giving out non-audio based awards.
Now you do.
Yeah.
Oh, not Grammy. It's GAMMI.
The Gammy?
Gammy. You're the community grandmother.
Chief of sunshine, happiness, and gammies.
And Gammy. Gam. We're going to call you Gam for the rest of the show. So, I noticed.
No.
Hey, so have you ever so have you ever had something that you made that was absolutely beautiful in a picture, but maybe flavor wise wasn't the best? Have you had that yet?
Sure. All the fishes I take pictures of, or landscapes. Like landscape pictures typically taste horrible.
Tell that to Ansel Adams. He would disagree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
To be fair, did you eat the fish that you were taking pictures of, though?
No, never.
The question. So, it's still an unknown, I think, at this point. It's time to go scuba diving again.
I tried eating the picture, though.
Hey?
Oh. Good point. Pictures taste terrible, usually.
Was it printed on inkjet or laserjet? Because I've heard that affects the taste.
Wait, I actually don't know. What on earth is this?
Dot matrix.
Dot matrix. His pictures are printed on dot matrix.
No, it's not laser. It's inkjet. So
okay,
basically,
there you go.
Basically, I'm poisoning myself with lead and whatever.
I really enjoy that. If it was laserjet, you wouldn't have been poisoning yourself.
Yeah, that's completely healthy and a natural spice, if you want.
Lasers are a naturally born occurrence.
No. I'm talking about the toner.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, the toner orchards in Switzerland are renowned globally.
Yes. It's one of our export products.
Toner orchards.
And but they only grow at altitudes of over 9,000 feet, which is about, what's that, 700 football fields.
You're asking the wrong two guys. We are definitely not sports guys. Oh, wait, or are you talking about European football? Because that's a different one.
No, I'm mocking your imperial system of unit.
Oh, otherwise you would have called them pitches. So it'd be 700 pitches.
I don't know that word. It's not in my vocabulary. Sorry.
No. So, from what it sounds like to me, the natural occurring toner orchards in Switzerland are somewhat picky. Would you say that you are picky when it comes to food, or are you very open? Because whenever I've eaten with you, you've ordered the same thing for the last 5 years.
7 years.
Have we been? Oh, well, I guess we have known each other for 7 years. Wow.
Yeah. You used to look great, and then you aged.
See, it's funny. I was much larger when we first met, and now I'm shrinking in width. And yet you're saying I looked better plump. That's interesting.
You look tastier plump.
I guess that's fair. More gristle.
I don't know how to get out of this.
Welcome to the hole. You keep finding yourself digging deeper and deeper.
No, I'm also digging sideways, and usually I would find a way to start digging upwards. But in this case, I just don't know how to say how to say it nicely that I would take a bite. For example,
you're currently doing the Willy Wonka Great Glass Elevator of hole digging. You can go multi-directional. You're a polydirectional hole digger.
That's
maybe
fantastic.
Maybe your second nickname of the hour is Dig Dug, after the famous 80s video game. So okay. Gam Gam and Dig Dug.
So are you a picky eater?
Actually, I'm not. I travel a lot for work when I can travel, when COVID is not fucking up my life. And that means that you also get introduced to lots of cuisines, right? Because you go to Japan, you find tsukemen, and then you eat tsukemen for the rest of your life, for example. Or you go to Indonesia, and then you find this weird salad made of chilies and onions called dabu dabu, and eat that for the rest of your life. Or you go to India and you discover palak paneer, and then you eat that as well for the rest of your life. So I try lots of different things, and then for every country pretty much I will settle for something that I like the most from that particular country. And I will consume more of that, but besides that I will also eat other things. Well, except in Japan, where I only eat tsukemen.
So it's less of being picky and more of knowing what you like and sticking with it.
Exactly. Like in America, I know that I will either eat pancakes in Vegas.
True.
Or I will eat Five Guys hot dogs in California.
What a bizarre thing to associate with. As an American, Five Guys hot dogs is the most strange shit to say, I'm going to America. That's what I'm going to get.
Like, the one thing that I miss from America right now is
me. He shook his head no.
I didn't.
I know.
I'm like I don't even have words.
There's a first time for everything, man.
Yeah. Wow.
So the thing you missed the most from
back.
the States.
So going back. The one thing that I miss from America is not jazz. Is actually the Five Guys hot dogs. And I'm saying Five Guys because I'm hoping that they will strike a contract with me, like an advertising contract, and I could say that in every single podcast I'm featured in.
Five Guys. Not a sponsor. Yet.
Exactly. And they have this hot dog. Usually I custom build it because then I can add lots of... Oh my God, I'm salivating. So the bun is toasted, right? Because it's hot dog. But then the whatever that is. What do you call it? Well, in German, it's Wurst.
The hot dog, the actual hot dog itself, or the
what you call the meaty thing that's also a hot dog.
Yeah,
usually it's called the wiener or the dog.
Or the wiener, yeah.
What's wrong with you people?
We don't know.
Where do we start?
Yeah, we would have to do another podcast.
You need another Shakespeare to invent some words for you. But anyway, or me. I could even.
You could be the next Shakespeare.
Make it so.
I always thought that Shakespeare just couldn't England properly, and then he was just like making up words, which would be very me. But anyway, and then the hot dog is cut in half. The wiener is cut in half and then fried.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And then you add some little green stuff like salad or whatever, and then you add jalapenos, and then you add sriracha sauce, and then you add mustard, and then you add 2 kinds of cheese, which I forgot which kind of cheeses, but Jesus Christ.
Do you like any wiener with your hot dog?
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good.
Next time you're in Austin, I have a new recommendation for you.
And usually I order them through Uber Eats, because Uber will also sponsor me.
Uber Eats, not a sponsor yet.
And usually I order like 3 or 4 of them to the hotel where I'm staying. And then I'm just munching on them and watching something in a TV, usually.
Jerry Springer?
No, the show that we were talking about, and I forgot what was it. Parks and Rec. Basically, I find a channel where Parks and Rec is on, and then I'm just watching that. And basically, I'm learning from Ron Swanson.
A good mentor.
Yes. Better teacher.
Yeah.
So we are at the 20-minute mark, which means that it is time for our newest segment.
Oh my God.
We are at our second occurrence of our newest segment, which would be the Tell Me Something Good. I think it should be good.
Tell me something good.
Tell me something good.
So here we're going to recommend
wait, that you were trying to make a pun?
We don't try, we do.
Successfully.
Oh. Wow.
Pun achieved.
That was pathetic. Okay, continue.
We're really glad we brought you onto the show, Gary.
I know. I can see it in your face. Like, I don't think I've ever seen your face red like now.
I appreciate you making fun of my overweightness and rosacea, so that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from
kidding.
Europe. I'm from Europe, so we don't have these barriers essentially that Americans have.
So I found over the last 7 years. So, with that, do you want to kick us off? What is your recommendation, your otaku recommendation this week?
My taku recommendation.
Yep.
Pick up diving when Corona is calmed down and it's not fucking up anyone's life anymore.
That's fair.
You would think scuba diving would be sort of immune to that whole thing, because you're wearing your own sort of oxygen supply, right?
Well, yes and no. You have to wash that thing after every dive, and usually you wash it in a common space or common tank. So you would, or the idea is that it might be possible that you spread this idiot COVID in the water or through the water to others. So basically, even if you own your own equipment, you have to wash it, and you typically would wash it in a common
area.
Yeah. Which would enable this freak to spread. So we also can't really go diving.
COVID.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan. Like,
No.
I know that people are cheering for it like crazy, but I'm really not a fan. Like, one of the worst things to happen to me.
Yeah.
I feel that as well. It sucks.
Yeah.
Well, on
If
that
o-
high note, Keith, what's your recommendation?
All right. Well, last week I recommended an anime. If you remember, I recommended oh gosh, I've already forgotten the name of it, From the New World. This time around, I'm going to recommend a comic book series called East of West, written by Jonathan Hickman and produced by Image Comics, or published by Image Comics. So fantastic story. Honestly, if they don't turn this into a movie series, I would be really surprised. It's very well done. It's about sort of the end of the world, somewhat. You've got the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Death is the main character, and he's this sort of Clint Eastwood type character who is pissed off at the other three horsemen and is trying to kill them. So it's actually a very interesting storyline.
I've heard it is being looked at to become some sort of series or film or something.
Totally. I think it should be done. That's my opinion. So East of West.
Love it.
How about yourself, Jesse? What do you got for us?
So for me lately, I've been diving more into my original career plan, which was graphic design, and watching a series of films that were really important to me in college, known as the Design Trilogy by Gary Illyes. And basically, it starts out with the documentary called Helvetica, which ends up being somewhat of a history of the famous font itself, but actually goes a little bit more into graphic design history, going from modernism and Swiss design all the way up to more of the postmodernism grunge style of the 90s, and how that's kind of gone back into a circle of modernism in the early 2000s. And then second film being called Objectified, which is about more product and physical design. And the third being Urbanized, which is about city planning and city design. So super cool set of films. There's also a companion book that actually details out all of the interviews. Helvetica specifically was very important to my life and my career as a designer before I became an SEO. So that would be my recommendation. Definitely check it out. It's on Prime. The Blu-rays are awesome. So,
What's it called again?
the Design Trilogy.
Nice.
Okay, if we are at recommending movies, then I very strongly recommend anyone who hasn't seen Schindler's List, watch it. Now you have lots of time, lots of time, so watch it and try to watch it. Try to watch it without being interrupted, like just as I was by Jesse. Don't stop for a coffee break. Don't stop for a snack break. Don't stop for anything. Just sit and watch the whole thing. It's I try to recommend this for pretty much anyone, and it's like, in my opinion, it's the greatest thing that happened in a very, very long time.
It's
Good
so
movie.
good.
Really good movie.
All right, so that concludes the Tell Me Something Good segment.
Tell me something good.
Yeah. Perfect. Fun stuff. Back to questions. Gary.
What?
you,
I don't like this.
This will be a fun topic, because I think you've already mentioned it a number of times already, and we've had a long discussion about how you're supposed to actually say the word. But tsukemen, however you want to say it. You obviously have a bit of an obsession with tsukemen.
How dare you?
Uh,
I mean, you're
pretty well
right, but how
documented.
dare you?
It's pretty well documented at this point. And in fact, if I may quote you, Jesse and I actually took you to what you said was the best tsukemen you've ever had at Ramen Tatsuya here in Austin. So I want to understand your love of this style of quote unquote pasta, even though it's really not a pasta per se in Japan. why your colleagues at Google tend to like to poke fun of you and call it spaghetti, and how you feel about that.
I just love the fact that he hated the place that we took him.
He didn't hate it. You said it was sweet or something?
It was okay.
It was okay.
So here's the thing. Like I had tsukemen at the place where it was invented.
Taishoken?
Taishoken, by the people who have been working there for like 3 decades or whatever, 4 decades. What year is it? Oh my god,
2020. That's the
5 decades, half a century. Well, not really half a century, but for a very long time. And I literally had the original tsukemen. And the taste is in my head. Basically, I remember how it tasted, how it's supposed to taste. So when you go to other tsukemen places, then you will try to match the new place's taste to whatever you tasted at the original place. And they are trying, and some of them are actually quite decent. So, for example, the Tetsu tsukemen in Japan, it's really there, and it's really, really good. But then you go to random places. I also had bad tsukemen in Japan. So it's not like every single tsukemen place in Japan will be good, but most of them are great and very similar to what the original was. And then there's Jesse, who is telling me that this is a fantastic place. Basically, he's overselling the place in Austin, and then we go there, and I'm like, I have high expectations because this person you trust told you that it's fantastic, and then you are served with this, hot ramen or with cold noodles, and it's like, it's okay. I mean, it tastes like ramen. The noodles are okay, like nothing special about them. It's just ramen noodles. And then you are like, it's okay. I mean, I've had better.
But you've also had worse, even in Japan, right?
No, the worst tsukemen I ever had, that was in LA.
Ooh.
Where was it in LA?
That I actually left it there. Like I had like a little bit of it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to say it. It's downtown LA. It's a relatively famous place.
Ooh.
But I'm not going to say it. I don't want people to go there for for this. It was super disappointing.
So I will give you, for several years now, I have been hyping the hell out of Ramen Tatsuya to you just to try to get you to go. Because I do enjoy their tsukemen, but
it's good. It's good.
Yeah. It's definitely non-traditional. It tries to bring in a barbecue flair to it. Yeah. So it's definitely different. It's not trying to mimic the original. It's just a dipping noodle, basically.
Yeah.
So that's my bad. I overhyped that way too long.
I mean, it's usually your fault. Like whatever happened, like COVID, I mean, we know for certain that it's your fault.
100%. I had a child. COVID started. Totally my fault. I brought this on.
It's not coincidence. Like the little one is born and COVID starts. It's like,
yeah. Well,
I thought that was
to be fair.
Cats. To be fair,
it did start before she was born.
I heard it was because of the Cats movie, because that was released in December.
I agree. Dame Judi Dench did this.
Oh, Dame Judi Dench.
The Cats movie is not in my memory. I refuse to remember that thing.
Left it on the table like bad tsukemen and
and I walked out on it. That's let's just not. Anyway, obsession about tsukemen. Why am I obsessed with tsukemen? Is one is the taste. So the tsukemen broth, that's not supposed to be a typical ramen broth. It's made slightly differently, and it's more savory, I think, and it has more complexity. But I also like ramen in general, but my problem with ramen is that it's always hot. Like, it's always served boiling hot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are Japanese, then you can eat it because you basically slurp it. And then it just cools down when you are slurping it. They actually have a word for that, susuru. But I'm not Japanese. I don't know how to eat that thing. And I always just obliterate my mouth when trying to eat ramen. And then a friend introduced me to tsukemen. And I was fascinated by it because you can regulate how hot the noodles should be to your taste, basically adjust the temperature to your taste by dipping the cold noodles into a hot soup. And it's just perfect because you can set everything about it. You get a very tasty soup, and then you can regulate the temperature of the noodles. It's just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that aeration is something that we in the West don't really do very much. The slurping of the noodles, the aeration of the noodles, it's something that Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese in general have. They're very comfortable with. We consider that rude in the West.
Yeah, I mean it's the exact opposite. Like, for example, in Japan, I was told that, or I was asked whether something is not good because I was not slurping. And
interesting.
Yeah, it's literally the exact opposite of what we have in the West.
I agree.
We talked a little bit earlier about how one of the things that you typically do with your food sort of exploration, because you've been doing a lot of what looks, to me, like a lot of really fun kind of creation of specifically Japanese food at home during COVID. But you take really cool pictures of them. And for as long as I've known you, you've always been one to try and take a lot of photos, especially when you're doing like road trips across the US or something. How do road trips and photography kind of play into your everyday life?
You mean in COVID time?
Not
because
during COVID.
Because that would be very easy to answer.
You take mirror selfies?
Oh, I hate selfies. I hate seeing myself anywhere, basically. I only have one mirror in my whole house, and I'm trying to avoid it like the plague.
I feel the same way.
You are from Romania, though, right? So it's Dracula can't see himself in mirrors.
Okay, let me be more specific. I was born in Transylvania.
Oh. Mystery solved.
You heard it here, folks. We now have an even greater understanding of the man. But
do you though?
No. My new favorite word.
No.
I like that. Oh my God, I chuckled.
I know, I did it. It's been 7 years in the making, but I finally made you laugh. On purpose.
This is the worst day of my life.
Great.
Jesse's going to win a Grammy for that one.
Yeah, a Gammy.
A Gammy. So road trips. I actually don't take many pictures. I'm very picky about pictures or scenery or whatever. And something actually has to look worthy of my time, essentially, to stop and take a picture of it. I do have an eye for it, I was told. So I would notice the things that might be worth taking pictures of. Typically not people, because let's not go there. But it combines really well with road trips, because then if you notice something interesting, then you can stop. I particularly like empty areas, like I don't know, the whole area around Vegas, for example, like Death Valley. I adore Death Valley because it's just so, well, unreal. And there are no people around usually, or at least not where we go. It's just great. I like the emptiness.
Interesting.
I remember one grouping of photos that you showed me when you took a trip from LA to Vegas for PubCon one year.
Right.
I think you went to one of the kind of ghost towns and showed like one of the old mining towns and took
Right.
some really cool photos of some like dilapidated buildings. And
Right.
I found it really interesting. It was super cool.
Yeah. Another thing is that usually I don't take the roads that are the shortest. Like, for example, if I'm driving up from LA to Vegas, then I would avoid like the plague, the major highways, and rather take, for example, Route 66 and just drive on Route 66 upwards to see things. Because if you, I don't remember which highway takes you to Vegas, but well, combination of highways, but you don't see shit. Basically, you are just driving 90 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour. If you are a Gary, well, actually, if you are Gary, then you are probably driving 120, and you don't see anything. There's nothing to see, especially not at that speed. But if you take Route 66, for example, or the road along Route 66, then you actually have a chance to see something. Like the stupidest thing, for example, along Route 66, there's a train line. And usually at sunset, there's this, well, you have to catch the right day, but usually at sunset, I always catch this freight train, which consists of probably hundreds of wagons, what it seems. And taking a picture of that, basically, if you catch the engine in the foreground and in the background, the setting sun over the mountains, it's just fantastic. And it's two very common things. Basically, you have a sunset, which usually in California are kind of epic because of pollution, mostly. And you have the other common thing, which is a train. But if you combine them, they actually look fantastic. And then because it's Route 66, there are lots of abandoned, or what Americans like to call it, unincorporated settlements. And usually that means that there will be lots of abandoned buildings, and perhaps one building where the owner of a gas station lives. And you can take pictures of those things. And you can stop and try to figure out why or how this went downhill, like why that settlement was abandoned. I mean, we all why it was abandoned, because the highways were built and then Route 66 became less used, and basically they just went bankrupt. But it's still interesting trying to figure out what people were doing there, because very often you can tell based on the abandoned building. Like, for example, if you see that inside there are 2-3 stoves, you can tell that people were perhaps cooking there for the other people living there. You can see saloons I'm trying to figure out what the good is doing with his hands because he's gesticulating, and he was just giving me the finger like a moment ago, which I don't know how to feel about that, but I actually don't feel about it. But
sorry, that was poor camera placement. I was popping a knuckle, so sorry.
Right. That's
you
what
mentioned,
I would say too. It's like
so in short, you get your kicks on Route 66. Oh, please.
we're having a middle finger war right now for those who can't see.
Sorry, I'm just or popping my knuckles.
You could be a hand model, Gary.
I know.
Beautiful hands.
I get it a lot.
You mentioned driving possibly 120 down a highway. What's on your radio when you're hauling at speeds, defining the lines between man and machine?
I mean, I only do that if the roads are empty.
Sure. But what are you listening to?
Like as soon as a car shows up in my mirror, for example, then I will slow down because, like, to me, it's one thing endangering my own life, and completely different thing endangering others.
Of course.
So when I'm actually driving really fast, like Germany style, then I would probably listen to something very fast-paced, like high BPM. That could be some old trance, for example, or it could be Linkin Park, for example. I love Linkin Park. It could be, I don't know, pretty much anything fast-paced. If I'm driving like a human being, then usually I podcast. I listen to some podcast or audiobook. Like last time I was driving up from LA to Vegas. I'm actually really disappointed this year I'm not going to do that. I just realized that. Freaking COVID. I was listening to Talking to Strangers. It's, if you like reading, read the book. If you like listening to audiobooks, read the audiobook. It's a very easy to listen to audiobook, so listen to it. It's amazing. And we are back to recommending something good.
That's Malcolm Gladwell, right?
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Also listen to other books from him. The other books are also great. Or read. Anyway, also he's very funny. He was on Conan, trying to make friends with Conan or whatever it's called, the podcast. And he's also funny apparently. So yeah. But yeah, I'm listening to audiobooks or podcasts, something deep usually, because then I can, like, I need something to concentrate on when I'm driving. If there's anyone in the car with me, then just music, like random, easy to listen to music.
Understood. Yeah. By the way, it's Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is the name of that podcast.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor yet.
Well, not yours. Yeah. So actually, that podcast, I very strongly recommend it. It's one of the most hilarious things I've ever listened to. I just finished up pretty much all the episodes. I think a week ago, and which reminds me, I have to complain to him on Twitter because I know that he's not reading the tweets that he's receiving. Something that I learned from him a couple of weeks ago. So now I'm ignoring Jess as well. I mean, people on Twitter.
I'd ignore me too.
Yeah. I will never forget that you actually complained to me about not following you on Twitter.
At the ramen shop. At the ramen shop. Biggest mistake I ever made, because now you do, and now you comment.
You and Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's his face?
What's his face? Love it.
Dr. What's his face?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. All right. So I don't know.
Actually
Are we
getting to the
done yet?
lightning round point. By the way.
Oh, lightning
You
round.
never what? Didn't tell me there's a Why
There's
are we
all-
not done yet?
And that's the thing. If you would have done your homework and listened, you would have known that there's a lightning round.
No, because then I have to listen to these things. I don't.
But
want
it's
to
going to
listen
be
to
the
these things.
second most hilarious podcast you've ever heard.
What was the first?
Conan.
Oh, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Not a sponsor yet.
Yet.
Yeah. No, that is a very funny show, I would say.
Have you actually listened to it, or you are just like taking my word?
Oh, no. Absolutely. I have 100% heard that, listened to that podcast quite regularly. That and probably Bill Burr's.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I'm a big,
more now.
yeah, I'm a big fan of, Sona. Mobsessian.
Oh, she is my favorite.
She's fantastic.
Does he ever bring Jordan Schlansky onto the podcast?
I feel so bad for that guy. Like, I hope that he never shows up in the podcast. I think he showed up in the podcast that was for right after the lockdown started in LA. Like they did a special, and I always feel just so bad for that guy. Like Conan is really mean to him, and yeah.
Enjoy
Although,
it.
I would do the same thing. So
Fair. So, Keith, you wanna kick off the lightning round?
Yeah, let's kick off the lightning round. These are just a few questions we ask every guest to sort of get a sense of how they would answer these questions and do it in a very quick fashion, lightning style. So if you're ready, let's kick it off. How do you think your hobbies have contributed to your success in your full-time work?
oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. Could you repeat?
How do you think your hobbies have contributed to your success in your full-time work?
My hobbies.
Or your
My
side passions?
Hobbitses.
Your hobbitses. Your preciouses.
My preciouses. I don't think they have. I mean, I'm cooking, I'm taking pictures, and I mean, no, I don't think they have. Yeah, because it's a lightning round, I will add more.
It's more like a slow rolling storm through the countryside. Rather than
Oh, let's take pictures. Let's take pictures.
Let's take pictures. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one then. If you could be one fictional character, who would it be?
I'm Batman.
Nice. He's Batman. Perfect. Okay. And finally, if
No, wait.
okay,
Deadpool.
Deadpool,
That sounds a little more on par.
because he can't die, or because he does really great
Oh,
jokes.
it's just hilarious.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, all right. Lastly, what other interests would you pursue if time wasn't a constraint?
What do you mean? Time is not a constraint.
Well, there are only 24 hours
I'm-
in a day.
Yeah, but time is relative.
It's a human
Hmm.
construct.
Okay, so you're.
Yeah, exactly. It's a human construct.
Oh crap! I forgot you're Dracula. Ah, you're eternal. You're immortal.
So is there
Wait,
anything
I
that
am?
you're it seems like it.
Well, you want to be Deadpool. He's immortal. You are from
Can he-
Transylvania.
Can he age?
I imagine he can't, because aging is a part of the dissolution of that little DNA strand thing.
Ah, right. Because his cells are regenerating, so
Mhm.
he can't actually age. Like basically, the number of cells in his body are always the same.
There's one
Essentially.
point when I think his white blood cell count gets too high. They repair themselves too often.
Oh, really?
But I think it's a hypothetical story arc. I can't remember.
Huh. We should look this up.
We shall.
Let's do that.
So
All right.
what would I do? I would. Well, I am. I'm fascinated by psychology, and I did take a year at college, and I'm trying to go back and do more or learn more psychology, specifically forensic psychology, because I just find it fascinating, and I promise I promise I will use it for good.
Not like
wait, I misspoke. I'm going to use it on good.
On good.
On good.
Oh, so you're a little bit more like Scarecrow from the Batman series. I gotcha. Well, actually, Harley Quinn was also a psychologist as well.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah, hey,
and I'm just as pretty.
See, I think he's more like Frasier.
Oh, come on.
Or Niles.
He's much more of a Niles. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. Well, that was our lightning round, or as we call it on this episode, the slow rolling storm through the countryside on a spring afternoon.
And with the end of the lightning round, according to my stopwatch, I think we're at time. We're right at time.
Oh, that was it?
It's finally over. You don't have to deal with us anymore.
All right. Bye.
This has been the Austin Otaku Podcast. To learn more about us and our show, to be a guest, or to subscribe to our show, go to www.austinotaku.com and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
All right. Do we want to try and do the no version?
Let's do the no version.
Yeah, let's do it.
I like that you're all hyped up on the no version now. The no version teaser.
Yeah,
is really what we've been building.
I actually got a bunch of energy from this.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm
Awesome.
glad that we could bring some energy into your life.
We could record the next episode as well.
We should do a follow up. That would be fun.
How do you feel about Star Wars? We are having a Star Wars panel.
No.
Oh,
Oh, good. Good. We've already started.
There's the first no.
Oh, I don't know if we started it or not.
Okay, we haven't started yet.
We haven't started yet.
How do you want to do this?
All right, let's just ask some questions, some random questions back and forth, and we'll do this for the next couple of minutes, and then go from there. And we'll try to make it sound as awkward as we possibly can.
Oh, I'm going to throw out things that are going to be really hard for you to say no to.
Okay.
No, don't do that, because then it's not that funny.
Fair.
Like, basically, I shouldn't be forced to say no. Like, it should come natural for me to say no.
Right.
Okay.
Like, do you like UNICEF? No, of course not.
See, this is what you wanted. We don't know what you want from us, man.
That's true. That's true. We're finding you have a humanitarian side to you by knowing that you cook for all of your neighbors. I mean, before this, I thought you'd be like, all right, well, I'll cook for you if you bow down to me. Just kidding.
How do you know they haven't bowed down?
He poisoned their food.
No, they are still alive.
Poison in the morning, antidote at night. So that's how the food works. Always. All right, we'll get started then. I think we can do that.